Namaste. Welcome to Happy Jack Yoga Podcast. I'm Happy Jack, live from Kashi Lake, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here live with.
Happy Hanna and happy little Coco is grunting here right next to me.
Nice. Yeah, feels so good. Hunter and I were just chatting before we went live, before the community joined in Zoom. And so I'm leaving today. I'm heading to the airport. In one way, so exciting. Can't wait to be back in Mother India. At the same time, like sad to leave home. It's like paradise here. The weather has been incredible. The fall colors. Just got out of the lake. And I was talking to my brother this morning while I walk his dog each morning, and he's like, "Hey, you're gonna keep up with your workout? Of course. Keep up with your yoga? Of course." He's like, "What about your cold showers?" And like, yeah, it's not quite cold enough in India, but I'll do my best. But I guess that's what I'm feeling right now, refreshed, having just got out of the lake. Feels so good.
That's amazing. It's such a beautiful time here right now. It's warmer than usual, but still very much like fall vibes, a little bit
Yeah,
crispy air in the morning, and
yeah.
colors are amazing. It's really beautiful.
And birthday vibes this past weekend. We had a 45th birthday. I celebrated, and you came over, Hanna. We had a nice family get together, my parents, siblings, nephews, and on Sunday as well, we had a beautiful sun community call, and I loved the conversation we had. We reached out to our, as I put the name in the title, we reached out to our elders, and that people with more experience, more wisdom. So basically, anybody who is older than me was invited first to share their wisdom. What have they learned? What at this stage of life, and some people are older by just a year or two, and some people have a few decades on me. Um, but just sharing, whether it's a health principle or a relationship principle or a philosophical or spiritual. And, we heard all kinds of different ideas. And it was just so beautiful because everyone was sharing from their personal experience.
Can you
People,
share some of those nuggets? What your
oh my goodness.
takeaway might have been?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting so many of them. It's one of those things, they say people don't remember what you say, people don't remember what you do, but people remember the way that they make you feel, that you make them feel. And that's what I remember is that, like, I mean, Sue is here live with us. She was one of the live ones. And just what everybody shared, I just felt that it was like from the heart, and it just created such connection. um, I mean, people were talking about the importance of being present, really being present with those and, loved ones, taking time to appreciate the little things in life. Um, Gosh, honestly, I'd have to think about it. It wasn't, yeah, I didn't take notes. It was more just like a beautiful conversation where everyone opened up their hearts.
Mm, sounds like a beautiful birthday present.
Yeah, best way to start the day.
Yeah.
Woke up, hopped on the call with the community, and I mean that's one of the most important things, right? Is just spending time with people who uplift you and nourish you. And I felt like that was the case this weekend with family. When you guys all came over, that was the case with the community on the Sunday call. And no doubt, you know, by tomorrow be in Delhi and then off to New Vrindavan and to Vrindavan. And again, just it's about the people that we're with.
Yeah. Did you end up going wakeboarding?
I did. Yes.
Yay!
45th birthday wakeboard. Felt good. It's been a few years. But I'll tell you, a good learning lesson that came from that. I had fun, had a blast. Beautiful, warm, sunny day. So a few things. I crashed several times, and a good learning. I didn't hurt myself at all. Wakeboarding, you don't go super fast like slalom skiing. It's a little bit slower. And I think there was a part of me that's like, I don't know, I'm kind of getting older, got to be a little bit careful. But it's like, I don't know. it was arranged such that I crashed a few times and it didn't hurt at all. But the other lesson from it was honestly the reason that I was crashing a few times is because I was a little bit hesitant. So normally, like if you're gonna like, I guess you don't know much about wakeboarding, Hanna, but you jump from one wake over to the other. So you've got to go like 15 or 20 feet across from one wake to the other, and that requires some speed. So you've got to carve way out and then carve in and really commit. And I think because I was like, well, I haven't done this in a few years. I'm a little bit older. I'm going to take it easy. So I did it with like half. But then if you only make it halfway, you land on the flat. It doesn't go so smoothly. So it was a good philosophical lesson there was that like if you're going to do it, go all in. Give yourself fully. Commit to the jump, commit to the weight, commit to the relationship, commit to the project, commit to go all in because I had the experience of the hesitation, and then even when I did and I crashed, which is what I was trying to avoid, it didn't hurt. And so even if we do quote unquote fail or things don't go as planned, you know it doesn't, the metaphorical is that it doesn't hurt so much.
Yeah,
So
that's
that was,
a great insight to receive on your birthday. And also, it's great that you went wakeboarding.
yeah, just how I need people like that's the good thing having my sister in my life. Like she's just the always wants to do the sauna, the swimming, the wakeboarding, the water skiing, the snowboarding, whatever it is. Like she's just that active person, and that's a good influence, right? Like just I was reading in a book there last night. I mean, the importance of hobbies, because we sometimes might think of it, a person like me might think of it as like, well, I'm not being productive. I'd be better off using my time to, to work or even to be with family. And those are all good things. But there's something about doing the hobbies where you can decompress. You're just like in the moment playing and having fun. And even if it's time away from other projects or relationships, we come back with like a new level of energy and creativity and presence. And so, where do we find time to do all these things, Hanna? Hobbies, relationships, work, spirituality, health and wellness, finances, all of it. Where do we, what's the trick? What's the key?
Well, I guess it's the one thing that you strive for, the B word,
Balance.
perhaps.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, it's finding balance and recognizing we can't do everything every day, right? I guess that's where it's like when I find something that I love, it's like, reading is so nourishing. And it's like, got to schedule that into my day every day. Oh, yoga is so nourishing. Got to schedule that every day. But then it's like hobbies, relationships, family, all of that. It typically doesn't work where you can do everything every day. And maybe that's where I get tripped up.
Yeah, I guess like if you look at how hobbies are organized, typically they happen like once a week or twice a week, right? And not every day.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. When coming back from India, maybe get back into hockey. Like my brother's got a team. Maybe they'll get back onto that or something, some way to stay engaged.
Yeah.
But what's
Yeah,
on?
you'll have different hobbies in India.
Definitely.
Tell us about the hobbies you'll have in India.
Well, let's see. I mean, one, we're going to be welcoming many, and Angie from the call here. Cannot wait for Angie to be with us in Mother India and many others. So one of them is going to be to hosting our retreat. We've done it since 2012. Been traveling there to Mother India, and this is the first time bringing a group to this particular location. Of course, I've been a few times this past year, and so that's just going to be about like community. I mean, there's just something about being together and being in a spiritual community, in an environment, waking up early, doing our practices, and really letting go of things needing to be a certain way or controlling or micromanaging, just really trusting, like cultivating faith. So I think that's going to be a big part, of course, our retreat. And then other than that, I'm using time to think about next year, planning our Bhakti Yoga conference and planning all the amazing, exciting things that may come our way with Happy Jack Yoga.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like hobbies, but something that maybe is more like a hobby is when you yourself go on retreats. You'll go on two different retreats, right?
That's true. Yeah, I guess that's one of my retreat. That's one of my hobbies, going on retreats. So as soon as I get there, we're going to Vrindavan for a bit of a pilgrimage for a week, and so like living very simply. I'm sure I'll be living very simply, eating very simply, going around to different sacred sites, and again, the biggest part just being association. The association of people who are on a similar path. And I think it's going to be good for me. I'll still be, well, actually, during that week, I won't be joining calls. But, as soon as that's over, coming back on, joining the podcast and etc., and being able to share, you know, all that is experienced. And yeah, I guess there's Karen saying, get some beads. Definitely. I've got beads. I got beads here, and I've got lots of beads. But definitely there's something about the practice, about waking up early. But you know what? Okay, I'm jumping around here.
Can I just
I
plug
was
in
thinking,
quickly before you jump to the next jump?
yeah,
Um, so that being said, you're going to India and you will report from there, but
yeah,
just not next Tuesday. So there's
yeah,
going to be one episode of the podcast that we will not lead, which is next week.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, what I was thinking about also being having just had my birthday, and I'm like, I want to put up some kind of a post this week. So I'm intending maybe to write something on the travels today. And then I thought, well, I'm 45. What could be a list of 45? And I'm like, that's a big list. But I thought like 45 non-negotiables, things that I do that are non-negotiable in my life at this stage. And just thinking about the things that I do, the nutrition, the sleep, the practices, the yoga, the exercise, the fresh air, the nature, all of these things. And I started thinking about them like 20 years ago when I was 25, 99% of these were not even on my radar. We're just not, it's just like at earlier stage of life, it's more just about like fun. I think for me it was just fun, partying and fun. And now there's like all these different things that are actually fun as well, but very nourishing. And so I was thinking about coming up with a list. What would you think of, Hanna, if you had, what's a non-negotiable for you? Something that, or a few
I don't know
things.
that I live my life with that type of framework. Like I've never thought about like for me non-negotiable is to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
I don't have a list of things that I can't live without or that I am very attached to, I guess.
Ah, I do.
I know
I
you
do.
do.
And it's like, for me, it's like, I mean, that there's that saying, discipline equals freedom. For me, it's just, it works for my model of the world. Like just having, just getting enough sleep every night, getting enough hydration. For me, yoga every day, 7 days a week on the mat. It doesn't have to be super long, but getting on the mat, move my body, exercise. As soon as the sun comes up, fresh air and sunshine. I'm always checking what time the sun comes up the next day, wherever I am. To get out there, first rays of the day, and they're just things, they just become like their ritual, and it's, they like those kind of things can, any kind of ritual can become unhealthy if it becomes obsessive, if it becomes restrictive, if it becomes controlling. But I find for me it's just it's pure nourishing. Like it's there's never a feeling of stress around it. There's only a feeling of like inspiration and like a pull, like a pull for like a pull from within of like I can't wait to go do this thing.
Mm. I think that it's like there, I think it's a sutra that says that discipline without devotion is nothing. And it feels to me like in the past recent years, you have also found devotion, which also was not on your
Yeah.
map when you turned 25, I'm quite sure. Or maybe it was, I don't know.
No. No, and that's right. It's like anything that we can do, like really we can spiritualize or make devotional any activity, including preparing our food, right? Preparing it with love before we enjoy it. And as part of this pilgrimage next week that I'll be a part of, there's kind of like a list of guidelines, and it's that one of them is to refrain from mundane activities while we're on pilgrimage. And it doesn't say, doesn't really, so that's left up to interpretation. But I was thinking about it, like mundane activities will, like on one side, I'm going to continue my daily workouts. Like for me, that's a non-negotiable to strengthen and feed my body. And so I was thinking, well, some people might see exercise or working out as a mundane activity, but for me it's a spiritual process. Like for me it's connecting me to divinity. Like literally I'm chanting, while I'm preparing and getting in the right mindset. And it's also it energizes me and gives me the vitality to serve, to do our services with Happy Jack Yoga or to whatever services of the day. And so yeah, I think that at least for me, that's something that I make an intention to do, is each activity to be, uh, to have a deeper purpose. Like why am I doing it? Not just to check a box. It's never it. Maybe in the beginning phases, some years ago, it was about checking a box or do this because it's healthy, brush my teeth so my teeth don't rot, or eat vegetables because I'm told that it's good for you. But now it seems like each activity has a deeper purpose, and just trying to live that way with each next step.
Yeah, it's like not just what you do, but how you do it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you mind answering Sue's question? The people you're going on pilgrimage with, if you know them all,
Yeah. Sue, I
tell
don't. I
them
mean,
how
I'll
many
know.
are joining on the first one.
It's a small group. There's just about 12,000. It's a big it's a big pilgrimage. It's led by Radhanath Swami, and so it's there's literally well over 10,000 people. So that's so on one side, you might think if we were to say, hey, we're doing a Happy Jack yoga retreat and there's 12,000 people coming, like on the one side, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get any chance to connect with, Jack or Hunna or this person or that person. Um, but it again, it comes about the association. So like it's true. Like this is not going to be the most opportune time to have several one-on-one conversations with Radhanath Swami because there's so many people. But it's about bringing together people who are students of his, who are like-minded and of different levels of experience. There's lots of senior people there, and being together. So to answer Sue's question, I mean, I know Radhanath Swami. I know probably of the 10,000 or 12,000, I probably know 100 people. I don't know if I'm going to bump into those 100 people because there's 12,000 people. But basically, I'm going on my own. I mean, I'm heading there on my own. I love how Sue says, Radhanath Swami is my hero. I know we've had some great conversations, and I just love that you're feeling so connected to him.
Mm,
Yeah,
it's
so
going to be
that's
exciting. You be prepared to report back when you come
yeah,
so that we get to
yes,
go with you.
yeah, definitely. I'll be sharing. Yeah, I mean for the week next week, I'll be off on a few of the calls just to fully immerse in the pilgrimage. But then all the following weeks after will be live from India, debriefing. I'm sure there'll be so much more to share after that time together. And one of the things that it's like, so the schedule roughly, like there's a morning program, and then there's a breakfast, and then we're split up into 8 groups. So these 8 groups are gonna have over 1,000 per people per group, and there's like buses involved, and we like get in a bus and we go to a sacred site, and somebody's there teaching us about it, speaking on it, and then there's a lunch, and then every evening at 5 p.m., probably for like 3 hours from 5 to 8 p.m., Radhanath Swami will give a lecture. And so that's how it kind of brings it all together as his pilgrimage. And I guess there's going to be many opportunities for service, like to contribute. And I'm thinking about, how, some people they contribute through music, and I don't really have that level of musical expertise, to be leading a kirtan. Some people through cooking, and it does say, if you want to help out with the cooking, we do expect that people have, some basic understanding of preparing food. And I'm thinking, I don't think I qualify, especially the Indian specialty food. But I'm sure there will be something, some way to get involved, and I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, maybe you can lead a sharing circle.
Well, that's what I would love that. Yeah. That would be up our alley.
Yeah, you can propose. Maybe they will have you do it.
Yeah. Let's see. But there's also very many different languages. Like, of course, I'm in the English speaking group. There's Hindi and Marathi, and because people from all over India, and then people from all over the world will join. And I'm very curious to see the experience, because it's a different intention of what our vision is for a yoga retreat. Like we're going to India, but we're not going into crowds like that of thousands of people, but rather, and it's not that one is better than the other, but it's a different intention, different purpose. And so we want to bring people into Govardhan Eco Village, which is Radhanath Swami's home, and obviously where he spends most of his time. So I've learned he's an introvert like myself, but because of his commitment to sharing and teaching, he will go on these big events or big pilgrimages to connect with thousands of people, because people want to have those experiences. But he spends most of his time kind of living a simple life, or I should say, most of his time in a quieter environment at Govardhan Eco Village, and that's where we'll bring our group. So don't worry, Angie, others who are joining us in India, we're not going to uh, pilgrimage with 12,000 people, but rather a few dozen of our happy Jack yogis.
Yeah, which is, I think, more appropriate for people who maybe are new or haven't been that much in India.
It's a soft landing.
Yeah.
It's a nice entrance point. We know for certain, like I will have to be careful with drinking water, etc. Versus like where we're going at Eco Village, it's all 100% set up for Westerners. And yeah, I mean, because we want people to have the experience of meeting with an Ayurvedic doctor. So everybody comes to India, they get a one-on-one consultation with the Ayurvedic doctor. There's a male and a female, and so your gender you get to meet with, and then yeah, it's just amazing just having that experience in and of itself. And then everyone gets a massage, an Ayurvedic massage, and there's just time that everybody will get to know everybody. That's how it is at our retreats, and so it's a different intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of more balanced in that there's spirituality, there's yoga, there's Indian experiences of how they do their yoga. We get to see and learn from monks, and we get to taste their food and yeah, learn about Ayurveda individually, which I think is a great gift. So it's going to be a rich experience.
Yeah, yeah, I seriously can't wait. That's the interesting thing. What is it? This is like the is it FOMO or when I simultaneously can't wait to get to India to have this experience, and I simultaneously am sad, leaving Muskoka. I've just actually just gotten in a really nice routine here, and like I would kind of joke before about seva and service, and sometimes having not so deeply inspired to doing chores or doing menial tasks, but I've really enjoyed doing it here, out helping my parents. Like just this morning, going to fill up the water. My brother has a well. My parents, the water is lake water, so they don't drink the tap water. So like going to my brother's with the water jugs, filling them up. Yesterday I was doing sweeping for my dad, and I was doing shoveling dirt for my mom. And like there was a time where where Hanna, you and I were very focused on creating Happy Jack Yoga University online, and we were working really hard, long days. And so at that stage, we actually it made sense to hire out people to cut the grass and to shovel the snow and to even help with some of the things around the house, and because we were very committed to creating something, or to taking our in-person experience to online, and that was beautiful. And now that things are kind of flowing well, and it requires less hours every day of like building it up and creating it, it's actually kind of nice having time in the day to be able to help out my parents and just doing these simple tasks. And it's like it checks many boxes. Like I get to be outside in the fresh air and get some sunshine, some vitamin D, get to spend some time like just walking around the garden and helping out my mom, just talking with them, and then moving my body, shoveling. So it's kind of cool. It's I guess this is the different stages of life, and I'm sure there a time will come again next year at some point where we're very focused on a project or something, and then there won't be time for as much of the kind of mundane around the house chores, or as much time for hobbies. And I guess that's the ebb and the flow of life.
Yeah, like for example, during the next Bhakti Yoga conference, I'm
Yeah,
sure you're going to be quite locked in with our community instead.
yeah, yeah. So that'll be the month of March of next year. Yeah, we'll do the grand. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna do the grand opening session at Harvard University with Keshava Swami and other special guests, and then that'd be like around March 1st, and then we'll do like the whole month of March, one or sometimes two live virtual sessions every day. Some returning guests, as well as several new guests, which we're excited for you to meet. And then the grand finale at Oxford University with Radhanath Swami and other special guests. So that for sure, that month or 5 week period is going to be very time intensive, and that's where our focus will be. But it'll be also very nourishing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. But so how about for you, Hanna? You just had you came from my birthday celebration. Your oldest boy had his birthday yesterday. What's on your heart? You're sitting there, you got the dog chilling, you're knitting, soaking up the fall vibes in Muskoka. What's on your heart?
I'm just living the dream over here. Yeah, it's beautiful. We Well, the your birthday and the Canadian Thanksgiving was really beautiful, and it's just wonderful to, I don't know, there's a lot of gratitude in my heart for everything that is. And my son came home. That, of course, is beautiful to spend time with him. We've been walking the dog lots together. And
Mm-hmm.
then we're so lucky to have Erin's two bicycles in my garage.
Mm-hmm.
And the area where I live is very beautiful with fall colors. And also, it's very easy to bicycle around here because there's not a lot of hills. So we've been biking every day, many times. Both my boys went together for a bike ride, and then I went with them, and it's just really beautiful. It's beautiful to see how my oldest is like just soaking up the fall vibes, and the moment when you sit on the bike and there's like this beautiful breeze. It's just like, and he would go like, wow, like, no, he hadn't biked for ever since he was a child, I'm sure. I don't know when he last biked. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
the simple things are the most beautiful things that in the not daily, because my son isn't here very often. He's maybe here 2 or 3 times a year if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So just sharing moments like this and meaningful conversations. He's someone that I can spend hours with. Just we're exploring our souls together. It is incredible. So
That's
that's
amazing.
what's on my heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So again, just doing, living enjoying the simple things in life, being
Yeah.
present, being with loved ones,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, having seen, both boys in their 20s now, having seen them from obviously babies, infants, the whole progression, you just have like a whole different perspective, right? You see as a parent, and for those on the call who are parents, like you really can appreciate that. And I'm seeing it like with my nephews, but not a daily thing. But like, yeah, two of my nephews are taller than me now. Like, what's going on? Like, I remember when they were infants, and now they're taller than me, and they're still got lots of growing to do. And but I guess you see that not just with physical size, but with maturity, with yeah, just life experience.
And it's beautiful to have a relationship of this kind with my children. Like we are really having meaningful conversations, and yeah, we're having fun too, and they are joking and being silly, but I can see that like our relationship is deep, and yeah, it's not about like um I don't know, um like what one should do, or it's not about um I don't know, like obligation, but
Mhm.
it's a deep heart connection that is there. And of course, that can be because we've navigated something incredibly difficult together. So it
Mhm.
has tied us together very deeply.
Yeah. And that's losing their father, losing
Yeah.
your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing. It's like I've thought about that, like, well, not that exactly, but like those who are closest to us, we share an understanding that no one else can understand or appreciate. Like I think about, like, say when if and when one of my parents passes, and we think about my mom or my dad, nobody nobody knows them as well as me and my brother and my sister. It's like we kind of share a bond of like we really knew that person. We shared some core memories together, all growing up. And obviously you have that with your two boys, right? Like there's just things that what you've had relationships. I was in your life for a period of time, and I know something, I know lots, I know your kids well, but you exactly because you've lived through some amazing moments and some deeply challenging moments. Like there's just a bond, an unbreakable bond that that only the three of you can fully appreciate. Like we can say like, oh wow, like that's tough, like, but nobody knows. But the three of you, it's like, hey, we know.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's complex in that we're not friends, in that like my children are my children and I'm their mom. And I think that is a deep bond, of course. And it can also not be. Not everyone has that. It's something that we've cultivated and created and cater for. And that is beautiful. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
They are at an age where they could be not so interested in walking the dog with their mom or going for a bike ride. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful that they want to.
That's true. There's a maturity level they have. When I think to when I was their age, when I was 21 and when I was 24, truthfully, I was not prioritizing spending time with my parents. I just wanted to go out with my friends and party and have fun like that, chasing the thrill, whatever. But now, I'm just a slower learner or slower to grow up and mature. But now I appreciate those almost above anything else. I guess I'd say my spiritual practice is paramount, and which is partly why I'm, willing to spend the next couple of months in India away from family. But man, like the bond with my parents and then my siblings next is strong.
Mm.
And yeah, but I guess it just kind of there's these phases of life and different level of appreciation and I guess everybody's different. There's probably people in their who are 45 that are still chasing the thrill and prioritizing friends. And who's to say one is right, one is wrong? There's just kind of honoring our own flow and evolution
Yeah, or they could be doing both. It's
as
not like
well.
one excludes the other either.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So what else, Hannah? What are we gonna do here for the next couple of months? I'd love to know. I'm just gonna put it out there to our community, to Angie, to Sue, to Karen, to everyone listening, Spotify and Apple. If there's like specific, because I feel like in one way, I feel often our conversations here, for me, are like very therapeutic and very helpful, and I, at least those who are here, join and they seem to enjoy. But if there's like a request or a suggestion of, I'm just curious to see where this podcast goes. We've been doing it. What are we at? Like close to 150 episodes,
Yeah.
something like that. Uh, I
I
don't
wonder
know.
if we are 149 today.
Okay, so maybe the next one. And so it's like something we've talked about recently is that we're we enjoy it and we're committed to it. We're going to keep showing up each week. You think about people like Joe Rogan or Rich Roll who've been doing it for decades, and there's something about just kind of continuously showing up, and it hones our skills. The ability to to maintain a conversation. But also, I guess, just always been thinking about like what is the deeper purpose? I mean, how would you answer, Hannah? Like, what is the purpose of the Happy Jack Yoga podcast? Why? What is our goal? What is our intention?
I guess we're um, experiencing the world together. Like this is a very personal podcast, right? Where we discuss a lot of kind of personal matters, and I think that we discuss a lot of how yoga fits into that, like how we might practice yoga in the different ways that it can be practiced.
Hmm.
So we share about our lives and the insights we're having, things that we are studying, things that you and I are curious about. And so this is kind of like a space where we are being very personal we're compared to like the community calls that we lead is not so much about us. Like, of course, we're always going to use ourselves as our tools in holding the space, but it's more about the community and what is on their heart. And on the podcast, we discuss what is on our hearts and what we're noticing about our lives and what we are learning, what we are exploring. And of course, that to us is fascinating because yoga is an experience. It's not just theory, it's something that comes alive. It's a living tradition that we all, those of us who are into yoga and interested in yoga, we are experiencing from moment to moment. It's a kind of a mindfulness experience in the present moment, and how it comes alive in you is different than how it comes alive in me. So that's kind of that's why it's such a broad spectrum of topics that we might have, because is there a limit to experience? Probably not. Each of us is going to have our own experience, and sometimes the more personal we are, the more universal it becomes, the topics and the insights. So we use our own experience and our own insights and our own noticing
Hmm.
to kind of maybe prompt something in the listeners, like how they feel about that topic and how they might experience their
Right.
present moment and their heart and their expansion and their search for deeper purpose and meaning.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's really well put. Because it's like even I like that idea of the more specific and the more personal we can be, it actually becomes more accessible and more universal, because people can relate to that. Because if we're just teaching concepts or something we read in a book, it could be good, it could be accurate, it could be helpful information, but it's not so obvious how it becomes practical, perhaps, or how it fits into our lives. And of course, many of the community either are parents or they are children of parents, like there's always can be some relatability. It's like when you talk about your mom, I think about my mom, kind of that kind of thing.
Mm.
And it's true how it is all connected to yoga, because as yoga teachers, many of us here are yoga teachers, and our relationship, our hobbies, our spiritual practices, our relationships, our family, all of these things, the different rituals, they impact our being, our way of being, and that's what we bring to the table as yoga teachers, right? We don't show up. Well, I guess I do bring a guitar, but it's not about like it's the guitar is not doing the leading, or it's what we bring is our life, our story. We have our voice, right? It's not even what we're physically doing. Yes, we might do some hands-on assists that can be very complementary, but the what it really comes down to is like the words that we speak. And so maybe when we're starting, we're kind of memorizing a script or memorizing some poses so we remember them. But then, once we get past that, so we know the flow, it's, how can we share our life? How can we make the poses come alive, the practice come alive, and create connection even before the first pose? How can you like really get everyone present out of their head? That's the greatest gift, and that tends to come through the sharing. Because if we just jump right into the physical practice, that's there's lots of benefit in that, and yet by creating connection or sharing a short personal experience and just like bringing everybody into that space, that can be such a gift, coming out of our head, and into a conversation, into a dialogue. Because as you've said before, yoga, the practice of yoga, teaching of yoga is a dialogue. It's not just the teacher calling out poses, but it's the response of the students with their breath, with their movements in response to the poses they're called out, and it becomes this flow and this dialogue and this conversation. And of course, any conversation or any relationship uh, happens smoother when there's rapport. And so the way that we create rapport and we create that connection is through, that, I mean, that's part of our sequence, right? The hero's journey is to create connection at the beginning, through a story, through a share, and really bringing the group together.
Yeah, that's from the perspective of the yoga teacher, but all of us, whether we're teaching or not, we are yoga practitioners.
Yeah.
And even that, I hope, is part of the inspiration here for those who are not teaching as much, um, to look how their practice comes alive in the daily, in their self inquiry, in as inspired maybe by what you share or the topics we discuss here,
Yeah.
right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's a good perspective, right? Because not everybody is intending to become a yoga teacher, or is, active. Even if they're certified, they might not be actively practicing. But ideally, we have some kind of personal practice, and it doesn't have to be every day. Mine is, but it's, some consistency is good, and for some people, 3 times a week, or whatever that looks like for each of us. And but then seeing, yeah, how does it come alive, how does it influence the rest of our day. It's not just about getting on the mat for 20 minutes in the morning, but it's like, how does that uh influence and impact, the way that we're in relationship, the way that we do our work, the way that we do our hobbies, the way that we do our chores around the house, can make a big difference.
Yeah. The way we see ourselves, the way we see our relationships,
Mhm.
all of it um, contributes to who we are. And all of us are the sum of everything that we've experienced and how we interpret it and how we use it or don't, how how we use that as a tool for transformation, right? I know transformation is such a buzzword, but it is something we all are doing all the time, whether we want to or not.
Mm. Yeah, we're transforming, we're changing, we're evolving. It makes me think of, I don't know why, but I'm just thinking now. There's two songs. Sue would probably know and appreciate some of these, and others as well. So Ozzy Osbourne just passed away recently, right? A few weeks ago, and he had a great song. My dad loves it. And it's, I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. That wasn't very good, but anyways, this idea of like, yeah, we're going through changes. But then there's another great song, one that I love, where I sang at my wedding, and my family and friends still joke about it. My first wedding, which was Freebird, and so and it says, "I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change." So in one way, we there's some teachers. Leonard Skinner's telling me that I can't change, and Ozzy Osbourne's telling me that I'm going through changes. What is it, Hanna? Is it in some ways we remain the same? There's like a thread that doesn't change, and in some ways we do, or what?
Well, do you think the soul is eternal? Do you think there is something about us that never changes?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And then as we go through life, our experiences will add to that soul or add to the totality of the human experience, right?
Mm,
So typically, when there's a paradox, then that means that it's true. So holding both Yes, and both can be true. Both things can be true at the same time, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's I mean that's true, right? I mean the yogis teach that the soul is eternal. It's yeah, it's just it didn't there's no beginning and there's no end. So in one way, the essence of who we are is consistent. And then in this material world, in this physical body, clearly there is an evolution, right? We go from birth to aging to death. So there's a physical transformation that's very evident in the aging, and we can grow. I find I've been spaces in life where I felt very expansive, like just like in a good space, and then I've also been in states or periods of life where I felt very contractive, and I was kind of not growing and not evolving. And so there's many different, I guess, subtle ways that we can evolve.
Yeah, and also it's like there are different aspects to us, right?
Mm,
Like we're layered beings, right? We have a physical body, we have an emotional body, energetic body, a mental body, and and we have a collective sense of self, and we have a divine kind of connection as well.
mm, yeah, yeah. That's the nice. That's where I feel most called and connected these days. It's just, I guess, just kind of realizing there's something reassuring and comforting, this idea of the divine, of something greater, and people have different names for it. Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Allah, Krishna, Shiva, Devi. Different words, different names, and but there's something about recognizing. I think that's where when I was 25 I felt like I was the center of my world. It's just about, what's in it for me, what am I going to get, about whether it's with the substance or the food or the relationship or whatever, just very selfish. And somehow this idea of this spiritual path and just waking up and kind of realizing, well, I'm not the center of the universe. Like I could disappear and life will go on. It's the world is not relying on me or any one individual human person. Um, so this idea that there's something greater, and when we see these synchronicities and these, when I get really quiet and doing the spiritual practices or in a sacred land like India, and there's just like a feeling of like, wow, there's something greater at work here, and it's inspiring. And so I guess I just feel like called to learn about that and to explore it, to do the practices that help me feel that more often, and to read the books that provide some explanation from it, and to associate with the seekers and the teachers that have more experience in this realm. And it's like a different purpose, a different path, still engaging in the world, still doing the things, but kind of like with a deeper underlying foundation. And I mean, that's bhakti, that's spirituality, that's that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think about the Enneagram. You gave me the book of the
Yeah.
wisdom of the Enneagram, and that's like a way to like, I think it's a framework that divides personalities into 9 different categories, and it is often used in the spiritual kind of circles as a spiritual tool, right? So we can learn about our kind of imprint, the way we maybe have a tendency to show up in the world as a personality, and then what maybe that personality can do to use these imprints for our spiritual growth. So for you, maybe you have an idea, I don't know, but you are the type number, which number are you? You're
The two or
achiever?
three, the achiever. Yeah.
Yeah, not two, because I'm number two.
Okay, so three.
Right. And so this type of personality is very hardworking, I assume. I haven't read much about yours, but you could say maybe more about that. But
Just read it, Hanna, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my God,
yeah,
that
just
is
the
yeah,
name of it says it all to me. So I
yeah,
will, and I haven't had much time. I just got it the other day, right, from you.
yeah."
But the way that might show up in your spiritual practice, like Richard Rohr is really good at explaining how to use the Enneagram for our spiritual growth and what the opportunities lie in each of our imprints. And as I said, I haven't looked so much into yours, but if someone is very much like achieving, then maybe, I don't know, I could imagine that when it comes to your spiritual practice, it is also about like allowing and creating connection with the greater system, like you're saying right now, like you were saying, like there is a bigger context. There's not just me achieving my things, but there's like a bigger system that is achieving perhaps God or universe, insert the word that, represents the higher power for each of us.
Yeah,
That's kind of fascinating.
yeah. It is. It's so interesting. Well, we're maybe next time we'll get a little bit more into the Enneagram, and I see Angie's comment in the chat. Fantastic idea. We'll have to capture that, or write in a topic, Angie, as you suggest, and Sue as well. Thank you. And Karen, any ideas for future podcasts? Let us know. But thank you guys for being here, and I'm super excited. A couple hours, Hanna coming to meet you. You're taking me to the airport, and then the journey home begins. Um, but thank you all so much for being here. So, those who are joining us in Mother India next month, cannot wait to welcome you. Wishing you an amazing rest of the day. Namaste.
Namaste, friends.